Life has a way of teaching us lessons, not always gently, but always purposefully. One of the most important lessons you can learn is about personal boundaries, what to keep private and what to share. There are things in your life so personal, so intimate, that revealing them carelessly can slow your progress, cloud your judgment, or even attract the wrong kind of attention. Today, I want to talk about 5 personal things you should never share with anyone if you want to protect your peace, your focus, and your future. First, your financial struggles and details. Money is a tool, a resource, and a measure of opportunity. Sharing your financial challenges openly can invite advice you didn't ask for, criticism you don't need, or even exploitation. There's wisdom in learning to manage your money quietly, making your progress visible only through action, not explanation. People respect results far more than they respect reasons. When you achieve financial growth silently, you empower yourself without inviting unnecessary interference. Second, your insecurities and fears. Everyone has them, yet not everyone is equipped to handle them. If you constantly vocalize your doubts, you risk being judged, or worse, being conditioned to believe those doubts yourself. Strength grows in silence, resilience builds in private. Share your insecurities only with those trained to help you grow, not with the casual observer. Guard your mind, because your thoughts shape your reality. Third, your future plans before they're ready. Dreams are fragile in the presence of cynics. Too often people tell their vision too soon and encounter skepticism instead of support. If your plan is powerful, give it time to mature, then let your results speak. The world doesn't need to know every step of your strategy. Success is not about seeking validation. It's about delivering impact. Protect your ideas like treasures. Let them unfold in your own timing. Fourth, your personal relationships and struggles within them. Marriage, friendships, family dynamics, they are sacred and complex. When you share the intimate details of these relationships, you risk misinterpretation, gossip, or interference that can make matters worse. The strongest relationships thrive in privacy, communication, and mutual respect. Handle personal matters with dignity, resolve conflicts quietly, and let love or loyalty not chatter be your guide. Fifth, your mistakes and failures before you learn from them. Everyone stumbles, everyone faces setbacks. But broadcasting your failures before you've grown from them invites judgment, discouragement, and sometimes unnecessary pity. The world respects someone who rises, not someone who lingers in defeat. Learn privately, adjust quietly, and when you're ready, show the lesson as a triumph rather than a tragedy. Life rewards those who understand the value of discretion. What you keep private is the soil where your greatest growth takes root. Guard these 5 personal things carefully. Protect your money, your mind, your dreams, your relationships, and your lessons. Speak less of your struggles, more of your vision, and always let action, not words, define you. Remember, true power is silent. Your life, your journey, your growth, it's yours to nurture and yours to reveal when the time is right. Guard your personal matters like precious seeds. Plant them wisely. Let them flourish. And when they bloom, the world will see a strength that words alone could never convey. In life, one of the most overlooked yet powerful skills you can develop is the ability to protect your privacy. Many people mistake privacy for secrecy, but the two are entirely different. Secrecy often carries a sense of shame or guilt, as if you are hiding something wrong, whereas privacy is a deliberate choice, a conscious decision to safeguard your energy, your focus, and your future. When you understand the value of privacy, you begin to see that not everything requires a response. Not every thought requires an audience. And not every struggle requires public attention. Privacy is the soil in which personal growth flourishes. Think about it. When you share your ambitions, insecurities, or financial struggles with everyone, you expose yourself to opinions, judgments, and distractions that can slow your progress. People often speak with the best of intentions, but their advice, criticism, or curiosity may not align with your path. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you create a protective boundary that allows you to think clearly, act decisively, and grow without interference. You preserve the energy that would otherwise be spent explaining, defending, or convincing. Energy is life's most precious resource, and guarding it through privacy is one of the wisest investments you can make. Furthermore, privacy strengthens your self-discipline. In a world obsessed with oversharing and constant validation, the ability to hold back is a rare and powerful quality. When you learn to keep your thoughts, plans, and challenges to yourself, you are essentially training your mind to resist external pressures. You are teaching yourself to measure your actions and decisions against your own standards, rather than against the opinions of others. Discipline begins in silence. The ability to delay gratification, to work quietly toward a goal without seeking attention, and to maintain control over what others know about your life, all contribute to a stronger, more resilient character. Privacy also cultivates clarity. When your personal matters are not constantly exposed to external voices, you have the space to analyze your own thoughts and feelings more objectively. You begin to make decisions based on logic and long-term vision rather than being influenced by temporary reactions or unsolicited advice. Your mind becomes a laboratory for testing ideas, reflecting on experiences, and planning your next steps. In this quiet space, you can recognize your true priorities, set meaningful goals, and understand what really matters to you, free from external noise. Another aspect of privacy is the way it protects your relationships. Not everything needs to be shared, even with those closest to you. Oversharing can create unnecessary tension, misunderstandings, or expectations that strain relationships. When you hold certain matters close to your heart, you allow your relationships to grow naturally, without external pressures or distractions. Trust, loyalty, and respect are built on the understanding that some things are sacred and need not be discussed publicly. Privacy, in this sense, is not just a personal tool, it is a relational tool that strengthens bonds and preserves harmony. In addition, privacy is a form of empowerment. There is tremendous confidence in knowing that your life is under your control. When you do not feel compelled to share every detail, you retain authority over your narrative. You are free to grow, to fail, to experiment, and to succeed without constantly seeking approval or validation. This sense of control is deeply motivating. It allows you to pursue your goals with determination and courage, knowing that your worth is not dictated by what others know or think. It is also important to understand that privacy is a proactive strategy for future success. Many great achievements begin quietly, away from the scrutiny of the public eye, by keeping your plans, strategies, and ambitions private until they are ready to be revealed. You protect them from premature criticism or doubt. You avoid the discouragement that can come from well-meaning but misaligned opinions. Those who achieve the most often do so quietly, focusing on the work rather than the applause. Privacy gives you the freedom to prepare, refine, and execute at your own pace, allowing your results to speak louder than your explanations ever could. Finally, privacy encourages self-reflection and personal growth. When you are not constantly seeking feedback or reassurance, you learn to trust yourself. You develop an internal compass that guides your decisions and actions. You become less dependent on external validation and more confident in your own judgment. The process of thinking, evaluating, and acting in private fosters maturity, emotional intelligence, and resilience. These qualities are invaluable, not just for achieving goals, but for living a life of purpose and fulfillment. In the end, privacy is not about isolation. It is about self-mastery, focus, and protection. It allows you to nurture your dreams, cultivate discipline, and make decisions based on clarity rather than external noise. It empowers you to grow in silence, to act with intention, and to reveal your progress on your own terms. Those who understand the power of privacy learn that the things they choose to keep private often become their greatest strengths. They are the people who achieve quietly, rise steadily, and leave a legacy that speaks volumes, without ever needing to explain a single word. By valuing privacy, you are investing in yourself. You are creating a life where your energy is preserved, your focus is sharp, and your potential is limitless. Guard what is most personal to you, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Protect it as carefully as you would protect a seed, because in that seed lies your future growth, your ultimate success, and the fulfillment of your highest aspirations. Privacy is power, and those who master it master their destiny. One of the most important lessons in personal growth and achievement is learning how to guard your financial life, your ambitions, and your personal growth. These are not just numbers on a ledger or dreams on a page. They are the building blocks of your future, the foundations upon which your life is constructed. Sharing them too freely can expose you to judgment, criticism, or even sabotage. Protecting them, on the other hand, allows you to cultivate strength, focus, and resilience, giving you the freedom to grow on your own terms. Your financial situation is one of the most sensitive areas in your life, and for good reason. Money is more than a tool. It reflects your choices, your discipline, and your capacity to create opportunities. Sharing every detail of your financial struggles or even your successes can attract people who are motivated by curiosity rather than support. They may offer advice you don't need, make judgments you cannot control, or even exploit your vulnerability. Learning to manage your money privately cultivates discipline, encourages responsibility, and strengthens your ability to make sound decisions independently. When people see your results, your progress, and your success, they are far more likely to respect you than when they know every detail of your journey. Equally important are your ambitions and goals. The world is full of well-meaning critics, skeptics, and even envious observers. When you share your plans too soon, you open yourself to doubt, ridicule, and negative energy. Dreams are fragile in their early stages. They require time, nurturing, and protection. By keeping your goals private, you give yourself the mental space to plan, execute, and adjust without interference. You allow yourself the freedom to make mistakes, learn from them, and refine your strategy without worrying about public scrutiny. Privacy in your ambitions is not a lack of trust. It is a strategic move to ensure your dreams are strong enough to withstand the challenges they will inevitably face. The ability to grow personally without broadcasting every step is a skill few people master, yet it is one of the most powerful forms of self-discipline. Many people seek validation for their efforts, believing that approval from others is necessary for motivation. The truth is, the most effective growth occurs when you work quietly, measuring your progress against your own standards rather than seeking applause, acting without seeking. Validation fosters confidence, resilience, and independence. You learn to trust yourself, to rely on your own judgment, and to persevere even when no one is watching. This inner strength becomes a foundation for all future success because it is rooted in your own determination, not the opinions of others. Keeping your financial goals and personal growth private also cultivates a mindset of abundance and strategic thinking. When you are not distracted by comparisons, advice, or unsolicited opinions, you can focus fully on the actions that matter most. You begin to understand the principle of delayed gratification, the idea that the greatest rewards often come from consistent, patient effort over time. By learning to protect your growth in silence, you build habits that compound into long-term success. You also develop a sharper sense of judgment as you learn to evaluate opportunities and risks without being influenced by external noise. There is another subtle benefit to protecting your personal growth and ambitions. It shapes the quality of the relationships around you. People naturally gravitate toward those who are disciplined, focused, and self-sufficient. When your goals and finances are managed privately, you avoid attracting those who are motivated by convenience, envy, or opportunism. You create a circle of influence that is supportive, constructive, and aligned with your values. Your growth becomes a reflection of your efforts rather than a reflection of others. Expectations or interference. Furthermore, learning to manage your ambitions and resources quietly fosters accountability. You take responsibility for your own progress rather than relying on external approval or encouragement. This sense of ownership is critical for long-term achievement because it ensures that you remain committed even when obstacles arise. Growth becomes a personal mission, not a performance for an audience. By focusing inwardly, you can anticipate challenges, plan effectively, and execute consistently, creating a trajectory that leads to meaningful results. It is also important to recognize that your financial decisions and personal growth are interconnected. How you manage your resources reflects your priorities, values, and long-term vision. Protecting both allows you to make deliberate choices that align with your goals. You begin to understand the importance of investment not just financially, but in your skills, relationships, and personal development. You learn to see money and resources as tools to achieve purpose, rather than as objects to boast about or discuss casually. This perspective transforms the way you approach life, allowing you to act with intentionality and clarity. Ultimately, protecting your financial and personal growth is about creating space for your best self to emerge. It is about focusing on what truly matters, executing consistently, and letting results, rather than words, define your progress. It is about learning the art of patient, disciplined action, the kind that builds strength quietly and effectively. By keeping your ambitions and resources private, you are investing in your own potential, building resilience, and ensuring that when success arrives, it is fully yours to claim. The key takeaway is this: growth, success, and personal achievement are fragile in the presence of distraction, judgment, and unsolicited input. Guard your financial life, your goals, and your personal growth as carefully as you would protect a treasure. Nurture them quietly, act with discipline, and measure your progress by your own standards. When you do this, you create a life of freedom, purpose, and fulfillment. You become someone who is not just successful, but self-sufficient, resilient, and empowered, capable of achieving extraordinary things while remaining grounded, focused, and in control of your destiny. One of the most important yet often overlooked skills in life is the ability to set boundaries for your emotions and relationships. Emotional and relational intelligence is not just about being kind or compassionate, it is about understanding the value of discretion, the importance of self-protection, and the power of keeping certain aspects of your life private. Not every fear, insecurity, or relationship challenge needs to be shared openly. In fact, oversharing can often weaken your position, erode trust, and distract you from the work of building a strong, resilient life. Insecurity is a universal human experience. Everyone has doubts, fears, and moments of self-criticism. But sharing these insecurities indiscriminately can have unintended consequences. When you vocalize every fear or uncertainty, you risk exposing yourself to judgment, skepticism, or negative influence. Even well-meaning people may unintentionally shape your thinking in ways that undermine your confidence. The strongest individuals do not share every self-doubt. Instead, they confront their insecurities privately, analyzing them, learning from them, and turning them into opportunities for growth. They understand that the mind is a powerful instrument, and that every thought nurtured in secrecy can become a tool for transformation. Similarly, sharing personal struggles within relationships without discretion can complicate matters. Marriage, friendships, and family ties are built on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. Revealing every conflict, disappointment, or frustration openly can create tension, invite gossip, and sometimes distort the perception of your relationships. Strong relationships thrive in privacy and careful communication, not in public debates or casual discussions. When you learn to handle relationship challenges quietly, you foster deeper understanding and create space for growth and resolution. Privacy in relationships is not avoidance, it is maturity. It is the wisdom to resolve matters constructively without letting external forces interfere. Emotional boundaries also protect your mental energy. Life presents countless distractions, pressures, and influences, many of which are beyond your control. When you share your fears or struggles without thought, you give others the ability to influence your emotional state. By keeping certain feelings and challenges private, you maintain clarity and focus, and you prevent unnecessary emotional drain. Emotional discipline is a cornerstone of success because it allows you to act from a place of calm and reason rather than reaction and vulnerability. The ability to choose when and with whom to share your emotions is an empowering skill, one that builds resilience and inner strength. Privacy in emotional matters is also a safeguard against misinterpretation. Human nature tends to interpret words and actions based on personal experiences, biases, and assumptions. What you perceive as a simple confession or a moment of vulnerability may be misconstrued, leading to unnecessary conflicts or misunderstandings. By controlling the flow of personal information, you maintain clarity in your intentions and reduce the chances of miscommunication. You learn to express yourself thoughtfully, ensuring that your words are used as tools for connection and growth, not as triggers for confusion or conflict. Another powerful aspect of guarding your emotional and relational boundaries is the cultivation of independence and self-reliance. Life will always have moments when support is unavailable or when those around you are unable to provide guidance. By learning to navigate your fears, insecurities, and challenges privately, you develop self-sufficiency. You become someone who can stand firm in the face of adversity, someone whose decisions are guided by insight and reflection rather than by the fluctuating opinions of others. Independence strengthens character, sharpens judgment, and positions you to handle life's complexities with confidence. Emotional privacy also allows for intentional growth. When you face difficulties alone, you are forced to reflect, analyze, and strategize. You gain insights into your strengths, weaknesses, and patterns of behavior that might remain hidden if everything were shared publicly. You begin to understand your emotional triggers and learn to respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. This introspection is essential for building resilience, emotional intelligence, and a life grounded in purpose and stability. The discipline of emotional and relational discretion extends beyond avoiding negativity. It also involves choosing wisely where to place your trust. Sharing deeply with the wrong people can create unnecessary risk, while sharing selectively with those who genuinely support and inspire you strengthens bonds and fosters meaningful growth. This selective sharing ensures that your energy is spent productively and that your vulnerabilities are safeguarded in environments where they can be appreciated, understood, and nurtured. Finally, emotional privacy empowers you to cultivate a strong sense of self. When your self-worth is not constantly validated or questioned by external voices, you develop confidence rooted in internal understanding rather than external approval. You learn to trust your intuition, act decisively, and maintain composure even in challenging situations. By protecting your fears, insecurities, and relationship struggles, you preserve the mental and emotional space necessary to thrive, innovate, and achieve your highest potential. In essence, the way you handle your emotions and personal relationships determines the quality of your life. By setting boundaries, keeping certain matters private, and learning to navigate challenges internally, you build resilience, clarity, and self-mastery. You gain the freedom to focus on what truly matters, the wisdom to avoid unnecessary conflict, and the strength to grow in ways that are sustainable and meaningful. Emotional privacy is not a withdrawal from life. It is a conscious choice to preserve your energy, protect your growth, and cultivate the inner strength necessary to create a life of purpose, fulfillment, and success. Mistakes and failures are an inevitable part of life. Every person, no matter how successful, encounters them. Yet the way we handle our failures defines the trajectory of our lives far more than the failures themselves. There is immense wisdom in learning to process mistakes privately, to analyze them deeply, and to grow from them before sharing them with the world. Too often, people broadcast their failures prematurely, seeking sympathy, validation, or simply a moment of attention. While understandable, this approach can undermine your growth, invite judgment, or even trap you in a cycle of self-doubt. The most effective path to success is to embrace mistakes as private teachers, internalizing their lessons quietly and deliberately. Mistakes are, at their core, opportunities. They reveal areas of weakness, gaps in understanding, or lapses in judgment. But to extract their full value, reflection must occur in a controlled and thoughtful environment, your own mind. When you process your failures privately, you create the mental space to analyze cause and effect, to understand your own decision-making patterns, and to design a path forward. Sharing failures before fully understanding them often exposes you to premature opinions, which can cloud your judgment and influence your choices in unhelpful ways. True learning requires quiet, uninterrupted reflection, not a chorus of external commentary. There is also a profound strength in discretion. By keeping mistakes private until you have learned from them, you maintain control over your narrative. Life has a way of testing patience and resilience, and oversharing failures can unintentionally invite criticism or doubt. Those who succeed understand that self-mastery includes knowing what to reveal and when. Broadcasting a failure before you've grown from it can limit the perception of your abilities. When you take the time to understand and correct your errors internally, you prepare to present your story as one of triumph, not defeat. This approach builds confidence, credibility, and long-term respect. Learning from mistakes privately also nurtures resilience. Every failure is a test of your ability to recover, adapt, and persevere. When you face setbacks in silence, you cultivate mental toughness. You learn to endure discomfort, to overcome discouragement, and to maintain focus on your goals despite temporary obstacles. The quiet processing of failures strengthens your inner resources, giving you the endurance necessary to tackle challenges that others might abandon at the first sign of difficulty. Resilience is born in solitude, not in public display, and it is this resilience that separates those who succeed from those who falter. Another critical aspect of keeping failures private is the ability to avoid comparison. When failures are shared openly, they are often interpreted in the context of other people's experiences, standards, or judgments. This comparison can distort your understanding of your own growth and create unnecessary pressure. By handling mistakes internally, you measure your progress against your own potential and your personal benchmarks. You learn to view setbacks as temporary, instructive, and surmountable, rather than as permanent reflections of your worth or ability. This self-reference perspective empowers you to remain focused on improvement and long-term success. Failures, when processed privately, also sharpen problem-solving skills. Without external interference, you are free to experiment, to iterate, and to devise solutions without the fear of judgment or ridicule. You develop the ability to anticipate consequences, evaluate options, and implement changes strategically. This approach transforms each failure into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. You begin to see mistakes not as a reflection of inadequacy, but as a guidepost, directing you toward smarter decisions, better strategies, and stronger execution. Embracing failures privately also ensures that when you eventually share your story, it becomes inspirational rather than cautionary. People are drawn to narratives of triumph over adversity, to those who have stumbled but found their footing and risen stronger. By mastering your setbacks internally first, you control the timing and manner of your disclosure, turning a moment of weakness into a story of strength. You demonstrate resilience, wisdom, and growth qualities that inspire trust, admiration, and respect. There is also a practical advantage in discretion. Sharing mistakes too soon can sometimes have tangible consequences, strained relationships, lost opportunities, or damaged reputations. By processing failures privately, you mitigate these risks while preparing yourself to address challenges confidently and competently. You learn to manage the fallout effectively and to convert temporary setbacks into long-term gains. Ultimately, the practice of handling mistakes privately is about cultivating self-mastery. It is about creating a personal environment in which growth, learning, and reflection can occur uninterrupted. It is about transforming errors into opportunities, challenges into lessons, and setbacks into catalysts for success. Those who master this skill gain a quiet strength, an unshakable confidence, and the ability to navigate life's uncertainties with wisdom and poise. By keeping your failures private until you have fully learned from them, you build resilience, sharpen your judgment, and strengthen your character. You prepare yourself to face the world not as someone who stumbled, but as someone who learned, adapted, and overcame. Every setback becomes a step forward, every mistake a teacher, and every failure a foundation for success. In the end, those who understand the value of private reflection on mistakes not only rise above adversity, they transform it into a lasting legacy of achievement, wisdom, and inspiration. Life is a journey of growth, learning, and self-mastery. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every boundary you set shapes the person you are becoming. The lessons we've explored: protecting your privacy, guarding your financial life and ambitions, setting emotional and relational boundaries, and learning from mistakes quietly are not restrictions, they are tools. They are the foundations of a life lived with purpose, focus, and resilience. When you choose what to share and what to keep sacred, you create space for your true potential to emerge. Success is rarely a matter of speed or luck. It is the result of discipline, patience, and intentional action. By preserving your personal matters, you protect your energy, sharpen your clarity, and cultivate the strength to rise above distractions and negativity. You begin to realize that your life is not a performance for others, it is a masterpiece in progress, carefully shaped by your choices, values, and vision. Every private struggle, every silent victory, and every lesson learned without fanfare compounds into the character, wisdom, and power that define your legacy. Remember, those who achieve greatness are not defined by what they share, they are defined by what they do quietly, consistently, and deliberately. Privacy, discretion, and self-mastery are not signs of weakness, they are marks of courage and intelligence. They allow you to act with freedom, to grow with confidence, and to reveal your achievements at the right time, in the right way. So protect your mind, your heart, your ambitions, and your lessons. Guard them as carefully as you would guard a treasure, because within them lies your future. Your growth, your success, and your fulfillment will flourish, not because the world knows every detail, but because you have learned the art of nurturing your life quietly, wisely, and intentionally. The world will see your strength, but only you will know the depth of your journey, and that in itself is power beyond measure.